Chesney.
Kenny, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me again.
I regret not coming to the Sphere shows. I'm going to tell you why. 2 reasons.
Why?
Multiple. One, because you were kind enough to just reach out and be like, you should come to the show. And I was like, I don't know. It's a long trip. And it's a long trip, you know.
It's a long trip.
But I was like, I do like Kenny. I've seen him live. The Sphere's... But I've talked to so many people who have gone that even I didn't know. I'll give you an example. I was talking to PJ Fleck, who's the head coach in Minnesota.
Yeah.
He said he went out with Matt Rule, the coach in Nebraska, and he was like, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I so regret not going. And then I saw that you just announced some new ones.
Yeah.
Next year.
We're going to go next year.
Well, now that it's over, what was your experience like doing those shows at the Sphere?
It was unlike anything we've ever done, to be up there in that space and to have a lot of people come. Well, almost 90% of the people inside the Sphere was from out of town, right? And it's people that have lived with this music for a while, but they got to experience it all in a completely different way, all those songs in a completely different way. And we worked really hard to give them that experience. And believe it or not, we're already working for next summer because it takes a minute to create all the stuff, So, but it was, for us, it was a different neural pathway that we as a band needed. And it was just an awesome. I think we did 12, 15 shows, something like that.
Was it weird for you to do those shows and people not always be staring at you?
At first, but I almost used it as a goal every night to bring them back over the fence. Because look, it's human nature. I mean, us as a band, we went on stage and we're up there playing and we're going, wow, this is unbelievable.
You're also watching the show.
We're also watching
man.
the show. We're like, going, oh wow, like I forgot what song it was, but on the first show, it's a song that I've sang forever, and like I've totally forgot the second verse. I was like, oh wow, okay, in the middle of the song. So, but it was an unbelievable experience for us, and I think the fans that came out just had a great time. So we're gonna change it up some.
I'm gonna come though next time.
You gotta come and stay for more than a day, to make it worth it.
What do you mean? Go to 2 shows?
No, but just do something else.
Oh, I get so dehydrated out there.
Okay.
You're
already talking yourself out.
I know, I am. That's what I do. You're right. I talk myself out of everything. You're right.
It's not even Christmas yet.
I know. Okay, I got like many other things to talk about. So I was reading some of your book. There's a chapter, Chicken After Church. Yeah. And in that chapter, you're talking about, and this related to me because I'm from Arkansas, we didn't have pro sports. Yeah. And in that chapter, you're talking about how, like, Tennessee football, that's what it was because that's what you had, and that's why you kind of have such a passion for it.
That's right.
I think that's very familiar with people in rural parts of the country.
Yeah, no question, especially when you live in a town that leans on certain things. And for us, it was school, it was church, it was family, and football. And like you said, we didn't have a pro allegiance to anything. For us to go see a baseball game, we had to go to either Cincinnati or Atlanta. And so, Tennessee football was all we had. And when you listened, there was a broadcaster named John Ward that was just a folk hero throughout the state of Tennessee and throughout the Southeastern Conference. But as a kid, that's all I listened to, and you have this idea of walking into a football stadium and what it's going to look like. And the first time I went with my father into that stadium, it was just the most unbelievable experience of my life as a child.
Core memory? You can remember it? Core memory?
Yes, I can remember the smell, how excited I was, and just like it was the biggest thing ever. And that's where my love of football started.
Do you still, on Saturdays especially, because I do, like when Arkansas plays, I don't want to do anything except focus on that. Do you have that on Saturdays?
It's not, I don't like to watch football with a lot of people.
I don't watch it with anybody.
Yeah, like I get invited to a lot of football parties and stuff, and I go, no, I want to watch whatever game it is. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want anybody talking to me, and that's just the way it is.
I'm not like that with life, though. Not just football, with anything, actually. I just want to be by myself.
Life? No, I like people around
Nobody
life.
talk to me.
No, I like people around in my everyday life. But
yeah,
when it's football and I
yeah.
care about the game, I don't want somebody just talking to me about random things.
Whenever you decided to do a book, and my experience with my books was to actually convey how I felt, I had to kind of relive some stuff that maybe I avoided or maybe I forgot about. But holy crap, did it all come back like a ton of bricks at times.
Yeah, like in therapy, they tell you to keep telling the story, and every time you tell it, you remember something different.
Yep. Well, how did that happen with this book? Like, what was it that you kind of revisited? And it didn't have to be emotional, but you're like, dang, maybe it made you feel good, but you hadn't thought about it in so long.
Well, it was just the connection of our audience, and when I got into those places, it made me think, like, we've been really busy for a long time, and it's been moving really fast, and so I got to this place where I was like, I have all these people that did it with me, and I have all these people that championed my journey in a lot of ways, and I wanted to take a moment and honor them first, and then write down what has happened to me, because now was the time, I felt like. But there was a lot of times that I was sitting with Holly Gleason and going, wow, when I start thinking about my grandmother, I can remember the smell in her kitchen and the first time I heard country music. And I think it's in our lives, there are things that happen to us that seem like really small things at the time. And then you move forward in your life and you look back and go, wow, those really were big things that were guiding you to a specific place. And that was the way it was for me with music, because there wasn't this one thing, but I went to see Alabama. I lived with my grandmother when I was a kid, and I saw bluegrass music on her TV in the mornings, and I was like, wow, what is this? But then I had a ball glove in my hand the whole time, right? Because I thought sports was going to be my life, but little did I know that these seeds were being planted, every now and then, that led me to being this person.
Will you talk more about the Alabama reference you made? Because even in the book, you talk about that a little bit. Seeing Alabama kind of changed your life on how much you love country music.
I was a kid. I think I was 12, or I'm not sure how old I was, but my mom loved the group Alabama. And when I was a kid, they were like the biggest thing going ever. And to us, they were the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. I mean, they really were. Because they dressed like us and they sang songs about us and they sang that we just loved them, and all of a sudden we get this we see on TV and on the radio that they're coming to a farm, to a field about 8 miles from our house. And it was the biggest thing that ever happened to me as a child. And I went to see them, and something happened inside my soul. It was just that set me on this path. Just internally, I was just stunned about how much they connected with the audience. And little did I know, at that night, that later on in my life, when I first got into the business, that their manager would become my manager. I mean, he was there that night. And the older I get, the more I see that we're all connected. The universe is pushing us in certain ways. And it was just crazy to think that night I would become friends with those guys, go out on the road with them, and their manager would become my manager, and I benefited a lot from that. And that was one of the first times as a kid that I remember like going, wow, that's what I want to do, right?
What song would you hear from them? Because music has...
There was so many songs. There was Dixieland Delight, there was Tennessee River, there was Lady Down on Love, there was...
But if you heard it now, it'd remind you of like that experience.
Oh, if I heard it now, it reminded me of that experience. And also, I was on the road with them for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember being in Reno, Nevada with them, and I was watching their sound check. And I'd been out a couple of years, and I hadn't been home in a while, and I was really tired. And Teddy Gentry, the bass player of Alabama, comes off stage, and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I'm tired." He goes, "Wait till you've been out here 30 years, then you can be tired." And he was right.
Whenever you're doing the interviews for this book, I'm assuming some days you go in and you're like, I got nothing. Like, I'm tapped out. I'm tired. I don't have many good stories. Any great stories come from those days where you didn't really expect to have good stories?
Wait, what do you mean? Like from
this book, you did a lot of interviews with Holly. Like, you guys talked a lot.
Yes, we talked a lot.
And I know the feeling of having to like just pour it out and think, I got nothing in the tank today. There's nothing valuable here. And it turns out they find very valuable things that you didn't realize could be expanded upon so much.
One of the stories that I didn't know if he was even going to make the book is when I was a kid, there was a basketball coach at the University of North Carolina named Dean Smith. and he had a basketball camp every year. And this goes back to all these moments that pushed me in a certain direction that I didn't realize at the time was doing it. But I spent a week in Chapel Hill at D. Smith's basketball camp, and we all ate in the same cafeteria. And they had a TV. It seemed like as big as that screen right there. And they had MTV on it. And back in the day, MTV was amazing. And you got to really see the artist. And that's the first time that I saw this video of Tom Petty. He had this big top hat on. And I think it was "Don't Come Around Here No More." I'm not sure if that's the right song or not. But I just remember I was just fixed on that screen. And for some reason, I was listening to I wasn't just looking at him, but I was listening to the music. And it just kind of inspired me somehow. And I remembered everything in the book where we talk about my life experience. There is a music thread to it that got me to this place, and that was one of them.
When did the beach come into play? Because you're from the middle of no water.
Oh no, the beach. That came into play with my mother. We would always go to Myrtle Beach or Daytona Beach.
That was like vacation, but you're like known for the beach. You're synonymous for the beach from a guy who grew up landlocked.
Well, I think it's more of an island vibe than it is a beach vibe.
I don't know the difference. I don't like either.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. Well, there is a difference. But I always love the ocean. I feel creative next to it. I feel humbled next to it. I feel very humble on a boat on it. And I've written so. Me and Dean Dillon would go to the Virgin Islands and write songs on my boat at least 2 or 3 times a year. It was so much fun, and I don't know. I just feel different there. I feel creative, and that I've always felt that way, even as a child. But I got the love for sunlight and the ocean and the music that you listen to in those situations from my mother.
Did anybody ever in Nashville, when you started to have more of a beach sound, go, "Hey, that's not really what we're doing here"?
Yeah, a few people. Yeah, but I had made the decision that I was going to take my life, that I was living very authentically, and that's why the name of this book is Heart Life Music, and it kind of goes to what you're saying, is because I took what was in my heart, lived my life like that, and I had music to connect all the dots. And once I started to take what was in my heart and my life experiences at the time, and it found its way into my songwriting, it found its way into the studio, and then on my records, and then on the road. And that's when my life really changed, when I stopped trying to be this model, this thing that everybody in town was trying to be. And there was a lot of people doing that because it was successful. I was one of those acts that was doing just about anything you could do to get your song on the radio or get noticed or whatever, but it was in this specific model. And once I stopped doing that is when my life changed.
Can you talk about, and hopefully so, because I'm so interested in George Jones, Tammy Wynette, they do the reunion tour, and even watching like the docuseries, or the, I guess it wasn't a docuseries, it was the fictional recreation.
Yeah,
of that.
Josh Brolin did.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But you were a part of that.
I know, I really was. I just got to town, and I had a record deal, but nobody knew I had a record deal, and I had a few songs out, and it was, to get that call was pretty unbelievable. That first of all, the fact that they did it was unbelievable. But George Jones and Tammy Wynette did a reunion tour, and they asked me to open the show, and it was great for me. But most people in the audience thought that I could have been just the local house band that they got to do it. I mean, they did not know the difference. But to me and my band, it was really a fun experience. And it's where my relationship and friendship with George Jones started, because after the second weekend, Nancy, his wife, asked me if I wanted to fly back with them to Nashville. And I haven't even seen a private jet, much less ride on one. So that was an unbelievable experience, and George and I became really good friends after that.
One of my favorite songs in all of country music is "You and Tequila, Me Crazy."
Yeah.
You and Grace Potter, love
With
it.
me and
I've told
Grace,
you
yeah.
that before.
Thank
It's
you.
literally one of my favorite songs ever of my whole life. that song and her? Like, how did that come together?
I had the song already recorded. Matresa Berg and Dina Carter sent me the song, but it was, I think it's either Dina or Matresa singing the song. I said, I really wish I had a male version of it. And there was a guy named Tim Krekel that actually did a demo of that song that was friends with Matresa. And I was driving up the Pacific Coast Highway, and I heard that version. I went, oh my God, I said, this is it. I said, I'm gonna record this song, but I have to have the perfect voice to do it. And I didn't know who that was yet. And I was at my house in the Virgin Islands, and at night there's no light pollution from any big city. It's just, when it's clear, it's endless stars. And I'd had a little bit of too much of Grandpa's cough medicine that night. And I was laying out, looking up at the stars, and that song came on, like on a shuffle on my iTunes, right? And I just sat there and listened to it, and I went, okay, I have to find the right voice. The next song was a song by Grace Potter called Apologies, and I went, that's the song.
That's how it happened?
That's how it happened. I hadn't even met Grace yet. And so I found her. She was in Europe on a European tour. I sent her my recording of it, right? Because I had the song cut for a little while, but didn't have the voice. And so I sent her the version of it that I had recorded, and she had landed. She was just got back from a European tour. She was in one of those car rental vans that everybody gets into to go to the rental company, you know, to rent your car.
Yeah.
And she put on her headphones and heard it, and she goes, I'm going to do it. Because all she ever knew of Kenny Chesney in Burlington, Vermont was she thinks my tractor's sexy. So she's getting this song from me going, okay, this could be really weird, right? And she heard it, and 2 days later, she was in Nashville. She came exhausted from the tour, and we put our final vocals on You and Tequila, and that was on my birthday. And that night, after we left the studio, we went to a restaurant that's no longer here called Sunset Grill, and we sat out in the car and just talked and went, you know what, we're going to be life friends. And that's what happened.
Did you feel that song was special? Because there's a lot of things that can happen to a song after you cut it.
Yeah, we hoped. You know, we knew it was very organic, and I felt like it was. I related to it a lot, and I felt like a lot of other people could too. But it was just, I don't know. It was one of the first songs that I ever had, and having Grace on it proved it, that it was genreless in a way. Like a lot of her fans are going, you know, a lot of my fans were going, okay, who? ? And a lot of her fans were going, why? ? You know, but once they heard it, it all made sense, right? So I don't know. It just goes to show you that we all grow up very differently, no matter how we grew up, and we have different religious beliefs, political beliefs, or whatever it is. But we all sing, you know, eventually sing the same notes.
Inside the book, there's a lot of good pictures. Did you have to like go and dig up old pictures?
Yes, Did you do an audiobook?
Yeah, it's miserable.
The audiobook was one of the most unpleasant things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
But
and
you know,
also
I had
somebody's
to do
listening to everything they're on with you, and they're like, you need to say the word weasel again. What?
And back up. It's not grammatically correct, or it took, like, I was in there for like, I don't know, a week and a half. I think there's 40-something chapters in this book. After a week and a half, I was on chapter 4.
Oh, wow.
I was like, it was hard.
So around chapter 4, somebody else starts.
No, I did it.
A new person comes in?
Because I realized that, you know, so many people wanted to hear my voice doing it. Like, I couldn't write a book, and then I could hire Bobby to do my book,
or James Earl Jones,
or
That'd
somebody.
Cool, yeah.
Right?
I, Kenny Chesney,
But nobody wants to hear that. So I had to do it, and it took it took a month.
Yeah, it's long
for me to do that. So I was curious if you did your audio.
Yeah,
book.
I did both, and they were both like, because I would do the show for 5 hours, and then have to go into another studio, and I could do like 2 before I started losing my voice. So yeah, it took like 3 weeks. And there's somebody, some little person that's annoying, just sitting there going, and then I do that again. And I'm like, I'm a professional talker. Like,
that's right. And they sit over there, and they're on the other side of the window, and they're going, I just feel like you got a better one in you.
Yeah, or that's not really how I think you would say it. And I'm like, I wrote it. I know how I would say it.
I know.
Yeah, that's a part that's kind of annoying.
Yeah. It was really strange, but they just felt. I don't know. I guess those people, and I really appreciated them, but they do so many, and it's almost a mixture of, okay, we're going to take all these, and this is this way that it should be done.
There was a picture of you and Bobby Bowden in the book, which I thought was cool.
Yes.
And it said, I think it was 2002, and you went to maybe spring ball or one of the...
Before that, see, it was around November.
He's a Florida State coach, by the way, former Florida State coach.
Former Florida State coach and like a legend in college football, Bobby Bowden, was a coach at Florida State for a long time. A couple of months earlier, I played Florida State's basketball arena. And I went, wow, I want to meet Bobby Bowden. I felt like I want to meet everybody at that time. When your life's changing and you feel like they might want to meet you. And it was true. And Bobby said, come on over. And I went over to his office at the stadium, and I sat down on a couch. It was me and my road manager, David Farmer. Uncle Cracker went with me. And there was sat Bobby Bowden, and he talked to me like, I don't know, it felt like a Baptist preacher almost in a way. It was crazy. And there was a guy that played football there. His name was Chris Winkie. And Chris Winkie was kind of famous for being like...
Old.
He was like, yes. He played
minor league baseball.
In a bowl game, and he was like 27.
Yes, he was.
And it's like... And I told Coach Bowden that I wanted to break Winkie's record of being the oldest player that played for Florida State. About a month later, his assistant called me and said, Coach Bowden has invited you to participate, not come to, but participate in spring practice.
Oh, that's funny.
And I went, oh, wow, this is going to be great. I can't wait. So I got my dad, who's, my dad was a coach, and it was something that he and I could do together. And I remember, they gave me a locker, with the team. And I went out there and did all the drills. I mean, I went and did all the meetings with all the players. And when it come time to scrimmage, they had their spring game or spring practice, before their spring game. And I was itching to get in.
Into the game? You wanted to get in the game?
In a practice, in a scrimmage. And Coach Bowden promised me he'd put me in. And finally,
what position were you playing?
Wide receiver.
Okay.
And finally, at the very end, they were going to let me go and do a couple of plays. And Coach Bowden had it like these big, what is it, a bullhorn you talk through. And the only thing he said, like to the whole team, he goes, don't hit Chesney.
That's what I was worried about.
He goes, don't hit him.
Yeah. So you were going to get tackled.
Oh, no, but like funny. It's
like smashed.
You watch on TV and you go, oh, yeah, I could do that. And then you get on the field and see how big and fast these guys are. I was like, okay, thank you, Coach Bowden. Thanks for telling them not to hit me because they would kill me.
The book is Heart, Life, Music. It's Kenny's book. My final question is why do a book?
Well, like I said, I just felt like it was time to do it.
But you're not dying.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not saying this is my last book.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
We never know. But no, I just felt like that so many people have been a part of this, and I wanted to honor them, and I wanted to honor this journey, and just everybody that's been a part of it. Like I said, a lot of people, one of the things that's been crazy is that I've become friends with a lot of heroes. And I never saw that coming, being a kid from East Tennessee, that I would get to know and be friends with Eddie Van Halen, Sammy Hagar, George Jones, George Strait, Joe Walsh, so many people, Steve Miller. Every day I went to school, I had the Steve Miller Band's greatest hits. And I was playing the Joker, and I was all these songs that were such a part of my childhood, and I got to know and collaborate with that person. So a lot of those stories are in this book.
Final question. What song do you play at a show, and within the first couple notes, the freaking fans explode the loudest?
American Kids. And we go, choo-ka-cha, choo-ka-cha. We don't have to say anything. It's just, wow. That's
the trick would be to never say anything and just play choo-ka-cha for like 5 minutes. Yeah, and it's just.
Are you ready?
The book is Heart, Life, and Music from Kenny Chesney. I hope you guys check it out. It really is great. And the Sphere back next June. I think is what I saw. Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun. You're welcome to come, Bobby.
I know. Here's what I feel. I'm gonna be vulnerable with you here, because I know you and I like you, and we're in a scenario. We've done some stuff together over the years. And I'm like, Kenny's all friendly and stuff to me when we're like professional. But if I go to like his show, I want to be in the way. He doesn't want me
You're not
there.
gonna be in the way.
No, I know. This is my feeling, and it's like I want to go. I guess
Do
I'll
you
go.
think I won't be nice to you out of this scenario?
Possibly.
No, that's not true.
Possibly. So
All
I
you
know,
guys are welcome.
I know. See, and that's true. You don't even know them, and you just invited
Oh,
them. So
he
you're
just
inviting
invited
everybody.
all
See,
of
that's my
us.
point.
Hey,
no,
That's
we should do
exactly
the
my
Bobby
point.
Bones show from the Sphere. What gets better than that?
I love it,
agree.
Kenny.
Smart.
Right?
Thank you.
I had this whole area inside. We could do the Bobby Bones
Do
show.
this. Set this all up.
We could set it all up.
Yeah, I think I'm back out. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm out.
it'd be
I'm
great.
out
I'm
again.
in.
Yeah. All right, Kenny, good
What
to
would
see
be
you.
great is to do it outside as the sun comes up, and you have the sphere in the
See,
background.
he's already getting rid of us. This is how it works with these famous
That
people.
way-
Yeah. Next thing you know, we're in the middle of the desert. As they're driving in, they see you doing
Yeah, and I'll
the
call
show.
in.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
It's a